thief money in bulk. Woman pikin dey the street dey hawk. Still dem talk say make we no talk, but thank God say Mayegun don come. So my people make you loud, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. My people make you shout, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Mayegun diary politico, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. This man not dey off in mind.
By turning over future investment to the private sector and by removing the complex structures which makes NMPC's accountability and assessment of efficiency almost impossible. You see, there are so many layers upon layers built on this simple thing, crude oil. I don't even know whether it's oil or some mystery around it that is taking the money from the central bank. You see, I think we would demystify all these things. In my government, the daily export of crude will be published and the price at which it is sold. You see, the issue of planned implementation is simple. You see, public things are not private. We have National Assembly now. They will do their job. They review the expenditure of government and will hold public hearing. We will no longer be hearing of monetary circulars from central bank without the bankers being told. The bankers will have to be involved. You see, like I said, every effort has been made in the past to shave people's head in their absence. It must stop. I mean, it won't be allowed. I mean, the cumulative wisdom of all the bankers would have seen us out of the problem we have in this country today. But some people, they come from IMF or they come from World Bank. What do they know about Nigeria? You see, the most brilliant doctor in Norway might not have seen malaria in his life. So bringing him here and imposing him as a medical director is like sending everybody to the grave. You see, I think all that nonsense will stop. I rely on Nigerians to keep Nigeria running efficiently, and that's what it is. You see, there will be a few foreigners who will be recommended by our people, not those who will be imposed by some foreign authorities over us. We are an independent republic under God, or aren't we?
Hello there.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun diary.
And I greet you, Happy Democracy Day, or should I just say Happy June 12, or all of the above, or none of the above. Share this broadcast.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Mayegun diary politico. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Godfatherism, kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun diary, Mayegun.
This morning, Kalu woke Nigerians up and he told them his mind, including the judges. Tell them, share this broadcast, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them that Mayegun today.
lórí Facebook
Máyégún ti dé.
àní ẹ̀sùn làjú
Máyégún ti dé.
lórí YouTube
Máyégún ti dé.
àní ẹ̀sùn làjú
Máyégún ti dé.
ọba bá gbé wúrẹ́
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn làjú.
Máyégún ti dé.
I actually have a lot to share with us tonight. So the best thing for us is to get on with it right now. Now, this morning, there is this Democracy Day broadcast from Kolu, June 12, a day set aside to commemorate the June 12, 1993 presidential election, which MKO Abiola was expected to win, but got annulled while the announcement was being made. Yeah? And today makes it 30 years that Nigerians actually trooped out. Not like as divided as you see it today. They trooped out to participate in a democratic election or a democratic process that they believe will see to the end of Babangida. And back then, 30 years ago, it was just two political parties. SDP, Social Democratic Party, NRC, National Republican Party, or Congress or something. Anyway, the two political parties then, which one, the SDP, which MK Abiola ran on, was so popular that this day, 30 years ago, the eastern part of Nigeria, northern part of Nigeria, western part of Nigeria, they have concluded voting. And as at the time, they announced and annulled the election, MKO Abiola was already coasting home to victory. He already won 3 to 4 Igbo states, eastern states at the time. MKO Abiola, a Yoruba man, defeated his rival or his opponent, Bashir Tofa, in Kano. Bashir Tofa, Hausa, got defeated in Kano, got defeated at his own polling unit 30 years ago. But fast forward to 30 years after, a lot happened. MKO died. A lot of people died. Then democracy happened to Nigeria, and it became demonstration of crazy people. Today, we now have somebody who pretended to be a Democrat, a drug lord, who joined the campaign for the recovery of democracy, but he was actually at the same time a friend of the same person who jailed Abiola. That is a Tinubu, a double agent. So the same Tinubu today has been rigged in as the president of a divided Nigeria, where those who are supporting Tinubu were publicly asking and calling for the execution of Igbos for daring to contest election with Tinubu. When Tinubu got defeated in Lagos, they set out to destroy every Igbo they could see, including Yorubas who supported the Igbos or who kind of defended them. It's a divided and different country today to what it was 30 years ago. But this morning, Tinubu came out on a democracy day and he rolled out threat after threat, especially to the judges, the judiciary. Somehow, Tinubu has managed. I mean, if you won't say, I will say it. The subsidy that Tinubu removed, as Lord himself, seems not to have any effect on him, or is illegitimate government that is about to unfold. Democratic dictator. Wait for it. So let's start with that. This morning from Corlus, what did they call it? National Broadcast, Democracy Day. Word for word. Let's start from there.
That Nigerians went to the polls to exercise their inalienable right to elect a president of their choice to lead the transition from military dictatorship to a representative government of the people. The abortion by the military fiat of the decisive victory of Chief MKO Abiola of the defunct Social Democratic Party in the June 12, 1993 presidential election, up to that time, the fairest and the freest election in the country's political evolution, turned out, ironically, to be the seed that germinated into the prolonged struggle that gave birth to the democracy we currently enjoyed since 1999. In rising to strongly oppose the arbitrary annulment of the will of the majority of Nigerians, as expressed in that historic election, the substantial number of our people who participated in the struggle to annul the election signified their fierce commitment to enthroning democracy as a form of government that best ennobles the liberty, the dignity of individual, and integrity, as well as the stability of the polity. The fierce opposition to the annulment of June 12, 1993 presidential election and unrelenting pro-democracy onslaught it unleashed was the equivalent of the battle against colonial rule by our founding fathers that resulted in the gaining of Nigerian independence in 1960. Just like the anti-colonial movement, the pro-democracy June 12 vanguard demonstrated once again the enduring validity of the 19th century historian Arnold Toynbee's eternal postulation that civilization and society experience progress as they are forced to respond to challenges posed by the environment. The unjust annulment of a widely acknowledged free and fair election was a challenge that elicited resistance by a resurgent civil society, leading ultimately to the attainment of our second independence, as exemplified by the return of democratic governance in 1999. Fellow compatriots, we celebrate a day that has remained a watershed in our nation's history, not just today, but for every June 12, for the endless future that our beloved country shall exist and work stronger and stronger. Generation of Nigerians will always remember themselves that the democracy that is steadily going to become the defining essence of our polity was not gifted to us on a silver platter. We can easily recall the sacrifice and the martyrdom of Chief MKO Abiola, the custodian of the sacred mandate that was so cruelly annulled. He sacrificed his life in unyielding patriotic defense of the ideals of democracy, as symbolized in his choice by his fellow countrymen and women as their duly elected president. There was an easier choice for him. It was to forgo the justice of his cause and opt for the path of ease and capitulation in the face of the tyranny of power. So it's eternal credit and immortal glory. Abiola said no. He demonstrated the time-tested eternal truth that there are certain ideals and principles that are far more valuable than life itself. Every day on this day, down the ages, we will recall the several heroes of democracy, such as Kudirat Abiola, wife of Chief Abiola, who was brutally murdered while in the trenches fighting on the side of the people. We remember Pat Alfred Rwani, one of the heroes of our independence struggle, and Major General Shehu Musa Yar'Adua, retired, who was silenced by the military junta while in pursuit of democracy. They gave their yesterday for the liberty that is ours today. That Nigerians went.
You guys like to complain a lot. He's reading it on the teleprompter. It's pre-recorded. They've cut out anything that could, as much as they could. You are still complaining that I go remove it. Joe, remove it. Joe, remove it. Joe. He's just giving credit to the democracy heroes. Did you not feel the phonetics? Did you not feel the phone? Democracy heroes and all of that. Okay, I'm sorry. So it's not that bad. Okay? Because the next part is where Kolu is going to tell you that those who cannot endure the pain of defeat in elections, they cannot enjoy the victim, so the joy of a victory. Something like that, Sha. I don't know. Because you can't really quote him. I was reading it. Let's go for the next one. So do I have a lot for you tonight, but this is how we're going to start.
The point is that we must never take this democracy for granted. We must forever jealously guard and protect it like a precious jewel. For a people can never truly appreciate the freedom and the right democracy guarantees them until they lose it. We have transferred the dark, thorny part of dictatorship before, and those who experience it can readily testify to the unbridgeable gap between the dignity of freedom and the humiliation and degradation of tyranny. True, yes, rancorous debates, interminable wrangling, ceaseless quarrels, bitter electoral contestations may be perceived by some as the unattractive feature of democracy, but they also testify to its merits and value. This year, we held the 7th in the cycle of elections that have become sacred ritual of our democratic practice in this dispensation since 1999. That the polls were intensely contested is in itself positive evidence that democracy is well and alive in our land. It is only natural that even as those who won and experienced victory in various elections are elated and fulfilled, those who lost are disenchanted and disappointed. But the beauty of democracy is that those who win today can lose tomorrow, and those who lose today will have an opportunity to compete and win in the next rounds of elections. Those who cannot endure and accept the pains of defeat in elections do not deserve the joy of victory when it is their turn to triumph. Above all, those who disagree with the outcome of the elections are taking full advantage of the constitutional provisions to seek redress in court. That is one of the reasons why democracy is the best form of government invented by man. For Chief MKO Abiola, the symbol of this day, in whose memory June 12 became a national holiday, democracy is eternal. It is about rule of law and vibrant judiciary that can be trusted to deliver justice and strengthen institutions. It has become imperative to state here that the unnecessary illegal orders issued to truncate or abridge democracy will no longer be tolerated. The recent harmonization of the retirement age of the judicial officers is meant to strengthen the rule of law, which is a critical pillar of democracy. The reform has just started. The democracy that will yield right dividends to the people who are shareholders means more than just freedom of choice and right to get people into elective offices. It means social and economic justice for our people. To the winner of June 12 democracy offers the best chance to fight and eliminate poverty. 30 years ago, a Christian is...
I know. It's boring, it's a torture, it's like, but it is not. Like I said, I don't want to put words in his mouth. They wrote that down, right? And he read that to millions or to the rest of the world, all of you. And he said, the judiciary, in a subtle way, that Tinubu, who is supposed to be head of an arm of government, is telling another arm of government that it will no longer tolerate any illegal court orders. You get that? Somebody that is fighting legitimacy right now, last week, he increased the age of retirement for Nigerian judges to 70 or thereabouts. Yeah? And then he promised to do a reform by giving them more money. He will take care of judges, build houses for them, buy them cars so that they won't take bribes. Then today on Democracy Day, he threatened them by telling them that except any judgment that he considers as legal, any judgment that comes from the judiciary that is illegal and he consider it as a threat to democracy will not be tolerated. People have been debating that online. Does that mean that if the tribunal says it should be removed, it won't go? Others are saying that if they're born and well, make the tribunal remove them. I said, don't waste your time. It will take a whole bull, easy passage through the needle hole for the corrupt judiciary in Nigeria to remove Tinubu. It will be a miracle. The entire country, all of you, including those who are supporting Tinubu, everybody will have to like collapse on their knees. If there is any judgment that says Kolu should be removed, with Kolu that we know, with what they are going to do, or what they have already been doing. But he threatened them. Then he told those, according to him, those who lost now, Obi and Atifku, that if they cannot accept or endure the pain of defeat now, they don't deserve the joy of victory later. So he's already signed off at their what have you. Now, these are cryptic messages that Kalu just kind of sent to you all. There are many more that somehow it can't be like saying na jazz. When another senator who happened to be the husband of a retired president of Court of Appeal in Nigeria, the Court of Appeal president that disqualified, or let me say that threw out Atifku's case in 2019, Bulkashua or something like that. I think it's Bulkashua. He came out today like say something, enter him, and he started confessing on the floor of their house. I'll come back to that. Let's hear the last part of Kalu's statement. He said some other things. Please hear from him.
Inauguration address on May 29, I gave effect to the decision taken by my predecessor in office to remove the fuel subsidy, the albatross, and free up the collective use of much needed resources, which had hitherto been pocketed by a few rich. I admit the decision will impose extra burden on the masses of our people. I feel your pain. This is one decision we must bear to save our country from going under and take our resources away from the stranglehold of a few unpatriotic elements. Painfully, I have asked you, my compatriots, to sacrifice a little more for the survival of our country. For your trust and belief in us, I assure you that your sacrifice shall not be in vain. The government I lead will repay you through massive investment in transportation, infrastructure, education, regular power supply, healthcare, and other public utilities that will improve the quality of lives. The democracy MK Abiola died for is one that promotes the welfare of the people over personal interests of the ruling class, and one where the governed can find personal fulfillment and happiness. That is the hope MK Abiola ignited throughout our country in 1993.
Ethnicity was not an issue. He won five out of the 7 states in the Southeast, as at the time the election announcement was tough. He won in the North. He won in the Middle Belt. Okay, in fact, he even defeated Bashir Tofa in his own polling booth.
Ruben, I was trying to draw your attention
so
to that.
ethnicity was not an issue.
Religion was not an issue. He defeated Tofa in Kanu.
Yes.
Kanu people did not want any tribe after that. Don't try it again. But what we see today, they did not want anybody.
Yes,
he defeated their
They didn't want anybody.
Yeah,
there was no warning.
When we're saying it now, some people say it's
MK
poverty.
defeated Tofa in Kanu. Kanu indigenous did not want anybody. Don't try it again.
Ethnicity was not an issue.
So, I know it could be a bit boring, but I told you, I wanted you to hear him out, hear just few things and all that, and you can make, you can do what you like with that, I would say. But talking about a rigged judiciary, currently, Kalu is choosing the leadership for another arm of government, which is the legislatures. Akpabiole will be the Senate president, and Abbas from Kaduna will be the speaker. And these guys have told the executive whatever he wants. All they want is what they will do. Then the judiciary, that is also meant to be independent as well, is what Kalu will reform. By your law, He's going to appoint some of your judges to the Supreme Court. He's going to appoint, the person who is going to be the head of the appeal court. They have a way of easing them out. The last person was the president of the appeal court in Nigeria, Binta. What's her name again? Is that Binta or Aisha Bukashua? Let me see if I still have a picture here. Right? She was, I think it's Zainab. Her name is Zainab. Zainab Bukashua was appointed president of the Court of Appeal by Bokwari. Now, when the tribunal case got to her, now what happened is, being the president of Court of Appeal, so she is going to have the chance of appointing 70 judges into different federal high courts in Nigeria. So she had that power. So she could influence anything and everything. And they have been doing it for a while, if we must be honest. Her husband confessed while the senators were doing their valedictory, when they were like rounding up and everybody was leaving, talking about judiciary. That will remove Kolu.
Particularly my wife, whose freedom and independence I encroached upon while she was in office. And she has been very tolerant and accepted my encroachment and extended her help to my colleagues.
Distinguished, please, I don't think this is a good idea going this direction. It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea, please.
Particularly.
So he was talking about his wife, who extended her help to his colleagues. So what does that mean? It simply means that being the husband of the Court of Appeal president, it was once very powerful and possibly revered by his colleagues. Because if they run into any kind of electoral trouble, they should not worry. Is what do you call it? Zainab will call a judge that can take care of it for them. Just think about that. The judiciary. The other one was when what's this guy's name? Okorocha was asking the same Senate president that you will still have to tell us how you actually got back to the Senate without contesting for senatorial seats. Well, because I just stopped by in the Senate, let's go in there and hear those who gave their own valedictory too, including Remi Werekwe, the wife of Ekolu, which is your deputy president. She had this to say, just for the record, going forward.
First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, distinguished Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON.
Thank you, the Senate President, Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'll stop with the protocol there and say distinguished colleagues, my brothers and sisters. Having been sandwiched with two eloquent speakers, and I didn't have a written speech, I think you will all bear with me. I'll speak from my heart to tell you how grateful I am to God Almighty. Never knew I would ever be in this place. Proved a lot of people wrong. I remember the first time I started this journey, I had a press conference. A pressman asked me, why don't you start from House of Rep? How dare you want to go to the Senate? But you know, he's one of those after my first term came back and commended me. We are friends today. At least when I see him, we shake hands. But God sustained me for 3 terms. From the 7th Assembly, 8th Assembly, 9th Assembly, and I'm still confused myself. How have I been able to continue this journey? At a time, I even thought that let me retire and begin to face family. Because serving the nation takes a lot of sacrifice. And it starts with the sacrifice from your home, your children, even your better half. It takes a lot of sacrifice to want to give time to serve your nation. At the same time, it's a great, great privilege for all of us that we are here, your nation. At the same time, it's a great, great privilege for all of us that we are here. But over the years, we've made friends, brothers, sisters, across our various tribes, ethnicity, and religious divide. In this room, we have the entire Nigerians being represented. And we were able to forge ahead. We're able to come together when we need to come together to make, very good decisions for this nation. And we did that as good elder statesmen and women. My thanks would go to my husband for even giving me the support. Despite, I won't say he totally supported me coming here. But at least I leave home, come back, and gives me little advice when I seek for it. But he gave me the freedom to be myself and to be able to make the contribution I thought necessary for our people, especially the women and our youth. And I believe that God Almighty uses weak things to confound the wise. And one of those weak things that God used to do exploit in these hollow chambers, I did all that was required of every legislator. Motions, bills, even some bills, that are assented to law. And I can only just be grateful to God for what he has done. And for the people I've met here, even we might not understand each other, we've always treated each other with respect. And I believe that we can, on this premise, we can build a nation that even our young ones will be proud of. And it starts from, we've been blessed in this 9th Assembly. When we look at us, it's not due to sheer luck that we say that the president has passed. We've been blessed in this 9th Assembly. When we look at us, it's not due to sheer luck that we say that the president has passed through this place before, the vice president, and also me, the wife of the president. And not only that, the chief of staff, deputy chief of staff, and we also have deputy governors that, a female, my colleague and my sister, who is here today. And what else can we say? That God is good. And
God is good to them. Look at us, we were senators. Now we are going to be this, we are that. I mean, it's not by sheer luck. It's not by sheer luck. What can I say? Look at my sister, look at my brother, and all that nonsense that she said, but I wanted to put it on record because all of that, as she go on here, okay? Even shitty man, has something to say too. But before we go to the shitty man, now this one where they crack me up. Okorocha. Roach ass. Okorocha.
Again, we shall all stand to say Nigeria is a great country. And to those of you, our colleagues, including you, Mr. Senate President, you're a very smart politician. How you came back is yet another political book to discuss.
Sorry?
How you came back is another chapter in our political history.
How I came back from where?
How you returned to the Senate as a senator
will open another chapter of great discussion in our political book. Because I was there in the field with you running for president. I never knew how you were able to meander and return and leaving some of us. Next time, you must teach me how to do that.
It was a torturous journey because we had to go through the courts. I didn't even appeal.
Did you get that? Corruption and them just kind of throwing it at everyone. So here is a shitty boy giving his own valedictory before going to become the called Lucef vice president.
Cherish this honor bestowed upon you, for it is a sacred trust, and let the spirit of collaboration guide your every step. To my colleagues, to my fellow colleagues who will depart this chamber, I address you not as colleagues left behind, but as friends who have become an integral part of my history. We have shared countless moments of triumph and defeat, standing shoulder to shoulder in the face of adversity and striving relentlessly for the betterment of our nation. Our bonds are forged not merely through the titles we hold, but through the fraternity and respect that transcends the boundaries of politics. I am here today bearing the weight of another responsibility, having been entrusted with the honor of serving as Vice President of our beloved nation. We may no longer occupy the same chamber, but we will always be bound by our fidelity to the ideals of democracy. This chamber will forever bear memories of the lives we have touched, and there can be a greater inspiration to be the country, the patriot the country seeks. As we set out to disperse into different channels of experience and influence, may the lessons of this chamber forever dwell within our hearts and guide us towards the clarity we seek to serve humanity with unwavering determination. Thank you, distinguished colleagues. Thank you, the Senate President, for your leadership, for your friendship.
As a shitty man, and I hope you kind of look at him very well. If anything happened to Kalu, that is the person that will tell you, fellow Nigerians and the rest. That's how you go have to deal with it too. Anyway, let's move on. Talking about shitty man or shitty boy. Now, shitty man in their what do you call it? In their already Muslim government, where they are looking for any singular Christian. And to them, the Christian they can find will have to come from southern Nigeria. Shitty man was talking to his fellow northerners, trying to convince them why it's not going to look well if the Senate president is also a Muslim. Let's just get one Christian, just to fill the space. And guess what he told them? He said, remember at first they told, when they played their religious card in the northern Nigeria, they call it jihad. They called an election a jihad. And that's exactly how they treated it. And the way they are even still treating it. So shitty man who kind of saw the, I'm gonna fix this. Don't go anywhere. Right, I have
First Staff Service Chiefs and the Police, distinguished invited guests, senior officers, this is my singular honor and privilege to announce the arrival of His Excellency, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic.
Sorry, we'll come back to that. So, shitty man trying to sell the idea of a Christian being the Senate President of Nigeria. Talking about Akpabio. You know what he said? Now, I'm going to let him say it before I kind of add my own.
For me, under the current dispensation, the worst, the most incompetent Southern Christian is better than the most puritanical Northern Muslim for the presidency of the Senate of the Federal Republic.
Did you hear that? I know it's kind of, it speaks kind of faster and the accent and all that. Let me repeat that again.
For me, under the current dispensation, the worst, the most incompetent Southern Christian is better than the most puritanical Northern Muslim for the presidency of the Senate.